Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Camp Raven Knob webinar here on April 25th. April 25th. We appreciate everybody joining us live here, and we're going to go through a very quick webinar with you guys on some updates that we have, reminders, COVID-19 updates, things that you need to know about our COVID protocols and how we plan to operate summer camp as far as check-in goes, and some of our sessions and things like that. So we welcome you here tonight. If you have questions as we go through, be sure to put those in the chat or email us at registration@ravenknob.com. Don't email the hunterday@ravenknob.com address because I will not be checking it through this, but you can email us at registration@ravenknob.com. But the easiest way is to put it in the chat bar. You do have to be logged into YouTube to be able to use that chat bar. So thank you. One quick note I wanted to mention as we get going here. Many of you know our dining hall manager. Those of you that are been coming to Raven Knob for the past several years, Carol Hyatt. I would ask that you all keep her in your thoughts and prayers as her husband passed away this morning. So please keep Carol and her family in your thoughts and prayers as we move forward and get ready for summer camp. So please do that for us. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to add this to the stream here. I'm going to turn it over. We've got with us tonight Ash Stimke, our program director, and Adam Moore, our assistant camp director. And we're going to turn it over to Ash to talk about some program updates. So Ash, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Hunter. I'd like to start out by just walking you all through a few things regarding our program, some recent updates to kind of keep you up to date on what's happening here. So first of all, just a good thing for you to know about as we're getting towards the summer is the locations of our sessions. Almost all of our programs are held in outdoor open air facilities throughout the summer. And a lot of times we get questions about where around camp these different things are taking place, and I'll refer you to our camp map for that. There's a couple ways to get to this. On our website, you can go to just the camp map page, but particularly if you click this, well, I'll show you this here. This map is at the end of the leader's guide, which is accessible on our website. In fact, let me go over to this for a second. From the main Camp Raven Knob page, there's a couple ways to find your way around camp. One is that you can go over here to the About tab, which should bring us, there's a camp map page there. And on this camp map shows sort of a Google map from everything on camp. There's session locations are not necessarily on here, but this will give you a good view of kind of what's going on there and kind of the different places around our camp that are all fully mapped on Google. In the Leader's Guide, which is up here under the Leader's Guide and Forms under the Registration tab, if you go over there down to our Leader's Guide, the very last page of the Leader's Guide is the camp map, which looks like this. One thing that's nice about this particular camp map is that all of the program sessions and program areas are clearly labeled on here. So if you're wondering where Basketry Merit Badge is going to meet, well, it's right here at the program center. If you're wondering where Pioneering meets, it's out Scoutcraft, which is right here. So as you are working on selecting sessions for the Scouts and helping them get registered for those, keep in mind that the camp map will be your friend as far as figuring out where all the different programs are. Each Scout will be given a passport, which is a little trifold document that we make at Raven Knob on Monday morning, and that will tell them exactly where all their different sessions are, and it actually has a map on it as well so they can find their way around the camp. As you're deciding which sessions with the Scouts, what they're going to end up doing, maybe consider the walking distance a little bit. It can be a bit much for some campers if they have, say, a shooting sport session up here towards the top of the camp at the ranges, and then they have to go all the way down to nature or something like that afterward. That's quite a bit of a hike, and it might be easier to maybe go from the ranges to somewhere like Scoutcraft or Handicraft that's a little bit closer by. So just kind of think about walking distance as you're working on that, but definitely get to know the camp a little bit before you arrive. Moving on to another thing about our sessions. Some of our sessions have prerequisites, whereas most of them can be completed at camp. There's a few requirements that we can't do at Raven Knob. such as, keeping a reptile and amphibian for a month or something like that. I can't quite do that in a week. And in order for the scouts to have a completion marked on your attendance report and your advancement report at the end of the week, we ask that leaders tell us about what requirements the scouts have done prior to camp. We've got a list of the things that we won't cover during the week. And so it's just a matter of the leaders kind of telling our instructors, hey, this scout has done this requirement, and we can go ahead and check that off and include that completion in the advancement report at the end of the week. There's a couple different places to find this information on our website, but probably the easiest is going to be right here at ravenob.com/prereqs. If you go there, there's actually this nice chart right here that I can zoom in a little bit for you. It lists the various sessions in alphabetical order over here, what the program area is, and what their prerequisites are. For some of them, it's quite simple. In order to do canoeing merit badge, for example, they need to complete the swimmer test, which they can do on Sunday at camp if they haven't done it beforehand. But on the other hand, with some of these sessions, such as, there's the fish and wildlife management, and we talked about reptile and amphibian a moment ago. That requirement 8 is the one where they have to tend to a reptile for a month, and we can't quite do that at camp. So take a look at this and kind of figure out what those requirements are. And we just ask that in order for the scouts to get completions on the advancement report at the end of the week, that a leader should come by at some point and let the instructor know, either with a signed note or just a verbal confirmation, to let the instructor know that the scout has completed those requirements, so we can include those on the advancement report at the end of the week. One more thing about our program sessions in general, we find at Ravenob that often our adult leaders like sharing their expertise and experience with the scouts in various sessions throughout the week. And there's a few really great opportunities for you if you're hoping to volunteer at all and help out with our program. One area that can always use extra hands to help out is the Raven Scouts area, which is our first-year camper program. Particularly with these younger scouts, ages usually 11 and 12 or so, it's just good to have some extra eyes kind of helping manage what they're doing, and also helping teaching them the basic scouting skills that are going on down in that area. So if you're interested in helping out, particularly if you've got a decently sized group of kids going down to the Raven Scouts area, feel free to come by, and I'm sure the area director and the other staff would be glad to have your assistance with that. Also, a number of our merit badges are career focused, particularly in the technology and nature areas. So things like engineering, chemistry, welding, bird study, environmental science, or forestry. If you work in one of these professions, if you are a professional engineer or a welder, or you're a scientist or you're a forester or something, we'd love to have your expertise for the week, even if that means showing up to a session for 20 minutes one day and just kind of telling the scouts about what you do for a living. In some cases, that's a requirement for the badge, that they actually speak with a professional in the field. And in other cases, it could just be a really cool activity for them to get to meet a real life chemist or something in chemistry merit badge or whatever it might be. Another place that we often can use assistance is in shooting sports. Because of national policy, we do require that anyone helping on our shooting ranges have an NRA certification to be able to assist with that. But obviously having extra hands and eyes on board to assist with those programs can be really helpful as well. If you've got any particular questions about this or are interested in helping with the session, just send me an email. My email is right down there, programdirector@ravenob.com. And I'd be glad to work with you and find a place for you to help out. We always like to have leaders helping with stuff. That's about what I have. I think we've got one more program thing here that Hunter's going to talk about for a little bit.
Sure. Let's talk about the session waiting list. This is a question that we get almost daily about the waiting list that we currently have for some of our more popular merit badges. One of the things that I get is my scout going to advance on the waiting list? What's the possibility of him getting there? When we look at a few of our merit badges, like the ATV merit badge, shooting sports, things like that, that require equipment-specific merit badges, it's very hard to expand those. When it comes to more merit badges like a first aid merit badge or environmental science, something that we can expand as far as our instructor base to be able to accommodate, it makes it a little bit easier. So we're waiting just a few more weeks before we start sending out emails and messages about a waiting list, about looking at other merit badges. Go ahead and sign up for those. And this is something that we have tried new for the first time in 2021. And so we want you guys to get accustomed to being able to use it and making sure that your scouts are going to be able to react as quickly as possible. So what I would encourage all of you to do that have scouts on a waiting list is to have them pick out a few more merit badges. You can also reach out to myself or the registration team, and we'd be happy to send you a list and show you what is currently available. We've got a list that we can send you that will show you week by week what is available and what is not. And we can send that to you so you can look with your scouts and see what's open so you can go ahead and get them registered or at least be ready to register them. As far as the waiting list moving goes, I can't make any guarantees. There could be a kid in the ATV class, and tomorrow he could decide he's not going to go to camp. So that troop goes in and removes them, and then your scout advances into the class or another, position on the waiting list. And so it's kind of hard to tell what happens there. So all we do is ask you to be patient with that and go ahead and make some backup classes just in case and have those on board. If you have any questions about the waiting list, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email or a registration team, and we'd be happy to work with you and get you that list of what's available and what's not. That way you can go ahead and plan. But we just wanted to go ahead and indicate this as we get a lot of questions about it to make everybody prepared for the summer. All right. I think at this point we're going over to our Assistant Camp Director, Adam Moore.
Sure, thank you. So we're going to take a look at some logistical updates about what you should be doing with your unit prior to coming to camp and some preparations to be made, and then what your arrival at camp is going to look like. So let's take a look. So your check-in and arrival, our weeks at camp run from a Sunday to Saturday schedule. And so the bulk of units will arrive on that Sunday, and we start our check-in process at 1 p.m. And if you were with us in the summer of 2020, then you know that we actually did a pre-registration for your arrival time to be able to pace everybody out so that traffic wouldn't get too bad and we didn't have people waiting for unnecessary amounts of time. And we're going to do that again this year as we're going to continue some of these screening processes before you enter into the gate and things of that nature. So your unit contacts will be receiving an email within the next week or so with links that are specific to your week to sign up for an arrival time at camp, which is going to be somewhere in between 1 to 4 p.m. on that Sunday. And when you do that, we would really prefer your unit to arrive together, for everyone to arrive together at the same time so that your unit can go through very quickly, get to your campsite, and start that check-in process. We understand that there may be some particular situations where that's not a possibility, or you were driving up and somebody got a flat tire, or you've got a parent that's bringing somebody in from a game or practice or something like that right at the beginning of the week. And we're willing to accommodate those things, absolutely. But if at all possible, we would love for everyone to arrive together. We do have Saturday arrival times available starting at 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. If you are a unit traveling from longer distances, especially if you're going to be a unit, say some of our Florida units or our Texas units that might be flying in, or you're going to do a multi-day drive, or you're coming in on the Amtrak, and you can't really control your arrival time once you get into North Carolina, we will have some Saturday arrival times available for you. We would just like to know beforehand so that we can accommodate you for that. We do not have an extra charge for a Saturday arrival time unless there are things that you are expecting from the camp, such as meals or anything of that nature. And so if you do have a particular need with your Saturday arrival, then I ask that you contact myself or Hunter Day, and we can be able to square that away for you. But usually our Saturday arrival units will come in sometime that evening. They'll have their own dinner, and then they'll get started with the check-in process the next day with the rest of the units. We also have opportunities available for those of you that are coming from farther distances, where we will actually provide the transportation to and from camp from wherever you are coming in, whether that be through the Amtrak in Greensboro, High Point, or Raleigh. We have several units who do take the train And you can visit ravenob.com/train and kind of see some of those offerings that we have there. And we also have several units that will be flying in either into Greensboro, to Charlotte, or to the Raleigh-Durham airport. And if that's the case, then you should be in communication with myself or Hunter on those plans so that we can have transportation there to pick you up. That transportation offering is $40 per person, and that gets you on that Saturday or Sunday when you arrive, transportation to camp. And then on Saturday, at the end of your week, we'll take you back to the airport or to the Amtrak station, whatever that may be. So please know that that offering is there. And if that's something you're interested in, to let us know about those logistics so we can get that worked out for you. So the arrival process, once you actually get onto the property at Raven Knob, for those of you that are familiar, you know that the maintenance facility is located just outside the camp gate. And you will have this pre-registered arrival time that you guys will register for here within the next week or so. And so you want to arrive as close to that time as possible. If you're running late, call and let us know so that we can expect that. And if you're running early, try to let us know as well. But we just really want to pace everyone out. But as you arrive to camp, you'll pull into our maintenance facility, and we have a large parking lot that's down there where there'll be an initial screening process that will occur. This is not your medical check. This is simply just a initial screening to get you inside of the gate. And once that's done, everyone in their vehicles will then proceed through the gate, and you will go directly to your campsite. This may be a little bit different from those of you who have been with us in the past, where you would come to the administration building. However, we're going to operate check-in just like we did in the summer of 2020, where you're actually going to base in your campsite and the staff will come to you instead of you coming to the staff. So you go to your campsite and you're welcome to unload and unpack, but you want to keep everybody there in the site because soon there will be a set of administration staff members and Health Lodge staff members that will arrive to do your check-in, to show you your invoice, what your schedules look like for your scouts. And then the Health Lodge will do that required medical screening that is required by National. And they'll go through the health form and collect allergy lists and things like that and talk to each of those scouts. So once that process is over, you can inform either the Health Lodge staff or the administration staff that you're requesting a troop photo, and we will ask you if you would like to have a troop photo taken. You can purchase a troop photo for $10 per print, and you can either do that through Tenaroo or you can pay once you arrive at camp. That's not a big deal. And if you request that photo, then that will also take place in your campsite. The photographer will come to you and we'll take that picture there right in your campsite. And then after that has been complete, should your unit need swim checks, if you did not complete the pre-checks, you'll go down to aquatics for that. If your troop needs a camp tour, then that can take place at that time. And then also a little bit different is that we will not be having our normal assemblies like we generally have had in the past outside of the dining hall with a flag ceremony and a grace. That will take place in your campsite prior to you coming to dinner. So you should do a grace as a unit, utilize your troop chaplain's aid and other scouts from the troop. You can do your own flag ceremony if you have the materials to do that in your campsite. And then you guys can head on over to the dining hall for dinner at 6. Or if you're going to be, you might, and we'll talk about kind of the schedule later, you might be in the second round of dinner as well. So that's what your Sunday is going to look like. And then after dinner, you got a little bit of free time, and then campfire will be at 8:15 for our opening campfire. So we have some express check-in options for you. There's an express check-in for the administration aspect of camp, and then there's also an express health check, which will look like in just a moment. But for the administration, you are considered an express check-in troop if all of your scout schedules are in the system and they're finalized and your cart is clear, that you don't have pending things in your cart on the registration system, because it operates just like Amazon, that if you haven't checked out of the cart, then you haven't bought the session. So your cart needs to be clear in order for everything to be finalized. The names of your adults should be entered in as well. So on your Tenaroo registration, you'll have the list of your youth and they'll have their merit badges. But then there's a block below that for your adults. It'll ask you whether they're a full week leader or a half week leader. And we do also need those names, not just the number of adults that will be present. We need to know the names of individuals who are in camp, and if your final payment is received. And then that is what we'll consider you to be an express check-in troop, and will make that administrative process so much quicker at your campsite on Sunday. There's also the express health checks, and this involves a little bit of effort, but this will be in everyone's advantage if we can get as many units to do this as possible. It'll make Sunday just flow so much better for everyone involved. And if you want to be considered express health check, at least 1 week prior to your troops' arrival at camp, you need to send the BSA medical forms part A, B, and C, a valid BSA medical form part A, B, and C that has to be within 365 days of that start time at camp. So it has to be within 1 year that it has been signed by a physician or by a PA. And we don't require, but we also really like to have an immunization record and the copy of the health insurance card as well, should that be necessary. There is a summer camp at-risk form that all participants, youth or adult, need to have. And the same with the medical form. It doesn't matter your age, your classification, you will need all of those there as well. And then an outdoor parental release form for only the youth. So the participants who are ages 17 and below will need the outdoor parental release form. They cannot participate in the program like that. And it says to mail these, and we really do need them to be hard copy mailed. Having emailed health forms can be a HIPAA violation, especially if they get onto insecure servers and things like that. And so we really like to have everything on paper, actually mailed to Camp Raven Knob to that address at the attention of the Health Lodge. We know that that's a little bit more challenging and it can be a bit time consuming and bulky, especially if you're in a larger unit. But it's just kind of how the law is going to break that down.
Hey, Adam.
Go ahead.
Be sure not to mail the originals. Mail us a copy.
Correct.
Please not put the original in the mail to us. We would hate for it to get lost somewhere in the mail. So please send us a copy of that. So we can always fix that part. We cannot fix the original.
Yep. That's a great point. So the originals, you can either keep with you as the unit leader or they can be with the parents. But we would prefer to have copies of these medical forms. And that will make everything so much easier for us in that respect. And you can just staple all three of those forms together. The medical form, the at-risk, and the outdoor parental release can all be attached for each scout. And so, we've got a good question about all participants. So if you have, 25 people, 25 scouts that you're bringing, and 23 of them have their physicals in and are ready to be sent out, send the 23 and we'll deal with the other 2 at camp. There's no use in holding everybody else up in that respect. So if you just have, a handful that have some late physicals that you haven't gotten in, we'll take care of that at camp, and you can send the rest of those in. And so we can have the buddy tags pre-made and all of that. And like I mentioned in the comments, we will send out this presentation so that you'll have the link to the forms, which are all available on our website, and you can have that address there as well.
Hey, Adam, let me just indicate that the 2 main reasons why we really like these forms to come in early is, number one, we can get those buddy tags filled out so we don't have to fill them out in person while trying to check everybody in. And number 2, it gives us an idea of what kind of allergies that we should be expecting, and in most regards to food. If we have any crazy food allergies that we need our dining staff to prepare for, which we'll be prepared for anyways, but it just gives us a better idea as far as our ordering and stuff like that goes. So that's one of the 2 main reasons why we do ask for those to come in.
Absolutely. Answer some of these questions here in the chat. So George asked, if the express medical check-in is done, will the originals be required at check-in? No. We are totally fine as a camp to operate just on those copies, and the originals can either be with the leaders or the parents can have those in their possession. And Regina asked, how will you handle issues with health forms if there are any? So if you send in, so that's why we ask for these at least a week in advance. so that our Health Lodge staff has the time to review them. And if there is a problem, our staff will contact the unit leader so that this can be squared away before your arrival at camp, or if there's just a form that you need to bring to camp with you, and that's not a big deal at all. So hopefully that answers those questions. All right. And then again, we're going to send out this slideshow to you, but there's just some links to some things that you might need your paperwork to gather before camp. And you can see there's the medical forms, the at-risk form, the parental release form, the swim pre-check form. So if you do your swim checks prior to coming to camp, you can click on that link right there, or ravenob.com/swim tests. And there's a place where you can upload those forms and go ahead and have those turned in. And you can see the form there. And then the special diet form as well. We really need that special diet form at least a week, but preferably 2 weeks prior to your arrival at camp. So if you have scouts or adults who are gluten-free or vegetarian, vegan, or have these very particular allergies, we are very, very accommodating of those things, and we have been for years. But we just like to know in advance so we can make sure that we have the proper things ordered when we create our food order for that week. At the same time, if you have a scout or an adult that has special dietary needs and there are foods that you are going to bring for them, we are happy to store those foods for you. Whether they're dry storage or refrigerated or frozen, we can store those for you if that would make your life easier for the week. Just let us know and we can help you out on that front. All right. I think that's it for me. We'll turn it over to Hunter Day.
Thank you, Adam. And just to reiterate about those special diets, we've got a tremendous team that work in our dining hall, and those that you have been with us before are familiar with it. And we are happy to accommodate you in any way. And over the years, we've had a lot of scouts that may, have a very serious food allergy, and the parent feels more comfortable sending a few items with them. And so we are happy to accommodate that in any way that we can. And over this past year with COVID, it actually made it a little bit more difficult, but our team in the dining hall were rocks and made it all happen very efficiently, and made all the special diet issues really not an issue at all. So one of the things I do encourage, if you have somebody that has a crazy special diet and a parent is actually concerned about sending them to camp, call me, give them my cell phone number, our office number, have them email me, and I'll be happy to talk with them. It seems about every week that I talk with just a parent about a special diet or their scout individually about how we can best accommodate them at Raven Knob during their time there. So be sure to share that information. And I mean that in all seriousness. Anything that we can do to help a scout have a better time at summer camp, we're going to make sure that happens. All right. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about COVID-19, what's going on, and a couple of updates, and then just a few other things. And so we don't have a whole lot definite at this point, in that we will be meeting with our health and safety risk management team over the next couple of weeks, and we'll have more definite answers for you regarding a couple of these things. Things that we know that are happening, and that you guys hopefully know that are happening, is that cooking merit badge was canceled for the summer. That was the first thing that we decided on, just because it's a very difficult merit badge to do, socially distant, without other people touching each other and touching food and things like that. Whole lot going on. So that was one of the first things that we decided to do. We do have a mask mandate in North Carolina. We are still under a mask mandate. If that mask mandate were to rise, it would go back to our health and safety team and local health department to decide what would be best for us to operate during the summer. And we will be happy to share that with you. But currently at this point, we are under that mask mandate. What does that exactly mean? It's a question that I get often, is that when we are inside, when we're in close proximity of people, either that be inside or outside, in sessions, things like that, where we are around other people and the air isn't being, circulated or well vented, we do ask that the mask be on. We've got a great staff that will keep our scouts, in check with this, and also leaders. But we do ask these things, and we will continually keep you up to date. We will have masks available at camp. If you do need some, we will have some for sale in the trading post, both customized with Raven Knob stuff on it, or just throwaway type masks that are made to be disposed of. We do ask that your troop encourage your scouts to do temperature screening for at least 1 week prior to the arrival of camp. What this will do will help us during our check-in process, because we will be checking temperatures as you arrive to camp. We do have a video on our YouTube page that kind of shows how the check-in process will happen, along with what Adam mentioned, and we will be checking temperatures. One of the things that will help us greatly, a symptom of COVID is a high temperature. It's not always the symptom or a symptom, but we do ask you to check your temperature of your scouts before they leave in the parking lot and before they leave home, and hopefully the week prior to coming to camp. So just try to keep a check on that, and that'll help us in the long run during the check-in process. We do encourage all eligible participants that are coming to camp to get the COVID-19 vaccine. It should be available for all adults across the board at this point. And as a summer camp leader attending summer camp, as well as our staff, you are considered essential as far as education goes through K through 12. This is a process we've gone through here in North Carolina, where you guys are good to go. But in North Carolina, everybody 16 years and older are currently eligible to get their vaccine. So we would encourage that. We've encouraged our staff to get their vaccine and have a great number of such vaccinated. So we would encourage that. All meals will occur in 2 shifts. Those of you that attended summer camp with us last year went through this process. It wasn't the easiest process, as many of you are used to. We just have 1 shift dining, where we have our assembly out in front of the dining hall. We go in and we eat and we leave. So we will be splitting this up into 2 shifts. On the next slide, we will have a schedule for you to look at, but here in a second. But this will be based on campsite. Last year, we announced this as you arrived at camp during your check-in process. This is something that we're going to try to expedite and have this to you prior to your arrival of camp, so you'll know when your meals are going to be and how to switch that back and forth. Because we do switch halfway through the week on who goes first and who goes second. I do believe. Is that correct, Adam? I'm not exactly sure at this point.
So last year we didn't switch. We just made it consistent.
Gotcha.
But of course, these are things that we can have addressed. And those of you that were with us in 2020, we're happy to take your feedback on that as well if you want to send us an email.
Absolutely. So we kept it steady, but we're happy to switch it back and forth. Just send us an email or put it in the chat so we can help with that. We do not have a form for the temperature checks 1 week prior, but that is something that we can absolutely put together and provide to you guys in the email as we follow up here. We'll put that together here once we wrap up, and we'll get that to you by tomorrow, so you can share with your families that are attending summer camp. Visitor restrictions. So this is a question that we get constantly. Many of you are familiar with our Wednesday night family night and ceremony, especially those of us that are in the Old Hickory Council or in local areas that can attend camp. We understand it's a big night right at this time. We have not made that final decision on visitors at this point. We will have that made in the next 2 weeks, and we will let you know what to prepare for. At this point in time, we are basing everything, though, off of what we did in the summer of 2020, which was no visitors on Wednesday nights. So we will have that update to you as soon as possible. We do ask that leadership, as they come and go through the week, that they maintain being at camp as much as possible. We understand that some leaders need to leave through the week. And we also understand that you'll have new leaders come in during the week, but this is something that we need to keep at an absolute minimum. People coming and going. Last summer we've got a staff member that is dedicated to going to town, getting supplies for camp and things of that nature. And if you were to need something, you could be happy. We would be happy to go and get that for you guys. Whether that's a Walmart pickup item or a local store in town, we would be happy to get that for you. But at this point in time, we will be basing everything currently off of our 2020 standards and protocols for COVID-19, which greatly reduces visitors throughout camp, and they need to have prior approval from the camp administration before coming. And we will need to know as quickly as possible if you plan on having visitors. Also, we will know at check-in if you have scoutmasters or leadership changing in and out through the week. So just stay tuned on some of this. We know a lot of folks have questions about it, and we are working as fast as we can with the policies and procedures that are given from the local government here in North Carolina and elsewhere. So just stay tuned with us, and we'll be happy to work with you. George, I see, does North Carolina require documentation for vaccine for adults? No, they do not. They do not currently require that. And if anything changes on that, we will be happy to share that with you. All right, you can go ahead and go to the next page. This is the schedule that we have. You can see we've got breakfast 1 and 2, lunch 1 and 2, and dinner or supper 1 and 2. So please take a look at that. Everything else is pretty much standard. There's nothing else that has changed. So you guys can take a look at this. We will make this available on the website so you can share. And like I said, we will try to get this information to you as quickly as possible of what meal you are going to be assigned to. George, is ice provided? Is it provided at purchase at camp? It is. It'll be for purchase at our trading post during their hours. You're happy to buy that there, bagged ice there. All right, you can go ahead and go to the next page. Also, we've got, just want to throw this in there, our Camp Raven Knob online trading post. If anybody wants some good gear of the Raven Knob trading post, we've got a lot of our branded items in there, including a couple of new things. Number one is the second item listed there, which we're calling the Mosaic Raven design there. So we've actually got a couple more things that are going to hit there in the next few weeks. So you can check that out. Go to our website, ravenknob.com, and hit the trading post tab, and you guys can get informed there. All righty. I think that's, let's see here. Yep. So that's how you can access it there. If it ever loads. I guess that means everybody's on there right now getting ready to buy them something. So if it's loading slow. Anyway, so go on there, check some stuff out. We've got some new items that'll be hitting there here in the next little bit. Carol, the leaders meeting actually will take place in between the two breakfast meals. So they will take place right in between the two of them as the second breakfast starts, and we will relay more of this information to you. What we do is we either encourage the leader that will attend those meetings to go to the first breakfast or hop in the back of the line at the second breakfast and join the troop as you're there. One thing to mention, I can't remember if we did or not, we will have a large dining tent out in front of our dining hall that will accommodate practically a third of our seating for the dining hall. So we will be outdoor seating as well to try to spread out as much as possible under these COVID protocols and procedures. Our contact information is listed here. My contact is camp.director@ravenknob.com. You can reach me at any point in time there, as well as with the other staff. So Health Lodge Registration Program Director, you can reach us all via these emails. We actually share our emails back and forth. We'll forward things to one another to best answer your questions. And so we'll get you squared away. Troop 749, to answer your question about Mountain Man, Mountain Man Cookie Merit Badge actually will happen because we are able to spread out the amount of cooking through the week and limit how many people are in the kitchen at one time. So that will be obtainable there. So you can go ahead and count on your kids being able to do that. All righty. Adam, do you want to go ahead and answer the rest of the questions that you see coming in?
Sure. So Richard asks, we'll have some parents driving but not staying. The Leader's Guide says that they cannot dismount the vehicle. That is the policy that we used last year, and it actually seemed to work pretty well. So for the time being, we're going to stick with that. But at the time of your arrival on that Sunday, if you have parents or other adults that are driving your scouts to camp, but they are not actually camping with us for the week, they should just stay inside of the vehicle and allow the scouts to unload and get the gear out, and then that person should go ahead and exit camp. And that seemed to work really well last year, not only for COVID and safety purposes like that, but it allowed for a traffic flow where we didn't have our roads all jammed up as people came in separate vehicles and things like that. So let's go ahead and plan on that for 2021. And then going off of the leaders meeting question, so I think that we answered Carol's that we will do a leaders meeting that is in between the two breakfasts. So either the leader who goes to the leaders meeting can come to breakfast 1, or generally the morning leaders meetings are fairly brief, and we are usually finished before the line for breakfast 2 has actually gone through, and you can just catch the end of the line there, whatever your preference is. And then asking about the senior patrol leader meetings, we did not have those in the summer of 2020. And so that will be a decision that our leadership team and our commissioner staff will develop here over the next several weeks and let you know. Really what we were trying to do is just to limit the number of gatherings of people throughout the week, but we will address that and have an answer for you shortly.
All right. Any more questions here? Hey, Ash, if you could exit out of the presentation and then click back on it for 1 second. I think there was a slide I added in here. If you're able to do that, want to encourage it. Yeah, go back. It's the one underneath the trading post one there. You can click on that one. So one quick thing I want to share with everybody. We're up to 60 viewers. Thanks everybody for being on tonight. It's the Beaver Day post.
Yeah, there it is.
Sweet. Yeah, if you can share it from there. Here we go. Loading. Awesome. So just want to share with everybody that camp does have a work day coming up on June 5th. Everybody's invited to come out. We'll share more details on this. We'll send it out via email to all of our contacts in the Tin Roof system and on social media pages. But anybody that is wanting to come out and help get ready for camp, at this point, really it'll be like cosmetic things. What can we do to make camp look better around, make our campsites look a little bit better? So we'll have a registration form up for that if anybody's interested, but it's a free event. We serve everybody free lunch, normally that's a hot dog or a ham sandwich or something like that. But we encourage everybody to come out. It'll be a good time to fellowship. Here recently, we've gotten a lot of out of council and outside the Old Hickory Council folks to come up and work with us. And you're more than welcome to bring your troop as well. If you want some service hours for your scouts or things like that, bring them on up, and we'd be happy to have them help out. So bring a pair of gloves and a water bottle, and we'll have a good time. So just wanted to throw that out there. This will be on the website here in the next few days. The sign up sheet is ravenob.com/Beaver Day. All right. Not seeing any more questions come in. So we're going to go ahead and tune this thing down. Oh, we got one right here. Can you speak to COVID protocols in regards to Cub Resident Camp? Regina, a lot of the same protocols that we have in place for normal summer camp will be exactly the same for Cub Resident Camp. We'll send out anything that's more Cub Resident Camp specific as the next few weeks come along. But at this point in time, a lot of those same procedures will be in place as far as temperature checks, check-in in the campsite, campfire sessions, mask mandates, all of those things are going to be very similar to what we are doing with our normal summer camp operation for Scouts BSA. So any updates that we have that when we meet with our health and safety team, we will send that out to you guys if it's any sort of difference to Cub Scout Resident Camp. Thank you for that question. All right. Any other questions? We'll continue to monitor this for a little bit longer. So any questions that come in, but we do encourage you to email us. My email is trickling below there at the bottom, hunter.day@ravenob.com, or you can reach Adam and his team at registration@ravenob.com, and we'll be happy to answer those as quickly as possible. We normally get back to you within 24 hours. Though things do get a little busy sometimes, and it may take a few days to get back with you. Paul Horner, Day Campers is currently it is currently a go. We do have people registering. If anything changes as we meet with our health and safety team, we will notify you as immediately. So currently that is a go. And I think we've updated that on the provisional day camper page on there. I'm not sure if we've updated on the COVID-19, but we will double check that. All right, we're going to go ahead and call it an evening here. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to be on here. We are very excited about Summer Camp 2021 with the possibility of hopefully, putting some of this COVID stuff on the back burner and getting back to our normal atmosphere at camp where our scouts can lean back and enjoy Camp Raven Knob and what it all has to offer, to be able to go up to the knob and breathe in some fresh air, and that cool mountain air, and maybe get a couple bars on the cell phone. So we are so ready to welcome you back to Raven Knob for those of you that took a year off or a few years off. So I think the first person we had on here hasn't been to Raven Knob since 1994. So you haven't been to Raven Knob since I've been born. So congratulations to you. Noah Simmons, hope you have a great and wonderful summer. I hope that's the Noah Simmons that used to work with us. So anyway, so thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you guys here in just a few, it feels like long weeks, but we're going to call them short weeks. So thank you for all you do, and we will see you then. Thanks.